on their way up is Will Power, who is P1 today. Rinus VK also will be coming up. The aforementioned, you just heard from him, Colton Hurd on the broadcast will come up, as will Marcus Ericsson and Graham Rahal. In the meantime, great to be joined by the driver, fourth quick in qualifying today, driver number 7, Errol McLaren Chevrolet, qualified for his 9th Indianapolis 500. The question now is, where will he start for the 108th running a week from tomorrow? Alexander Rossi. Alex, your thoughts on the day and getting into the top 12, as we're also going to be joined.
Get my tag.
The aforementioned Will Power also with us, driver the number 12, Horizon Business, Team Penske Chevrolet, who's qualified for his 17th Indy 500, speed 4-lap average of 233.758 miles an hour. Also on the far right, the 2022 winner of the Indianapolis 500, driver the number 28, Delaware Life Honda for Andretti Global. It is Marcus Ericsson. Alex, we'll start with you. Just your thoughts on getting in the top 12 for tomorrow.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild day for us. I mean, it started with the draw last night. Thanks, Dad. 34th. It's pretty tough. And then obviously it was a little chaotic for the whole organization in the beginning. But you know, we knew we had fast cars, and it was a lot of you know, just teamwork to kind of stay calm with the unpredictable stuff that started to happen. But you know, I think Errol McLaren did a great job this month so far. We've had good cars in really all conditions. Chevy's done an unbelievable job in making our lives pretty easy. So it's the job we need to do today, and now we focus to tomorrow.
Yeah, it was a crazy day, but 3 of the 4 advanced to the top 12, so a lot to hang your hat on for the team, right?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think that this place it always presents new variables and new challenges, but you have to be able to be adaptable, and we knew that despite the performance of qualifying we had last year, that we still had to make a step, and I still don't think we're all the way there yet. Obviously, there's 3 good cars in front of us still, but we're chipping away at it. We're getting there, and I have all the confidence in everyone that overnight we'll be able to bring 3 cars and put our best foot forward.
Yeah. Another sign of how competitive the series is, 7 different teams in the top 12 tomorrow. So it's going to be a heck of a show. Will Power leads the way again, 233.7 4-lap average. Will qualifying for 17th Indy 500. Your thoughts on P1 today, and can you do it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's yeah, good smooth run. Obviously got an early draw, which helps. Would like to have run in the heat, but Roger didn't want us to go out, so you know, we'll do the practice tomorrow. And yeah, I think Rossi's the one that could break up a off Penske front row, but I think one of us will get the pole. I hope. We put a lot of work in, so all the cars are about the same speed, and it'll be about the run.
Yeah. And Marcus, also, thanks for coming up. Appreciate that. Your thoughts on kind of a difficult couple of days you guys have been going through?
Yeah, it's been very tough, obviously. But yeah, it's just, can you only blame myself? You know, I crashed our primary car on Thursday and put us in a difficult spot. I think the team has done a really good job at, you know, building up the backup car and really putting in a lot of work yesterday to try and dial it in. And again today, you know, they were out there pushing all day to try and, you know, find speed and get me out there for new runs. So very thankful of that. But of course, it's very frustrating, very disappointing. So yeah, tough couple of days.
All right. Keep in mind, we've got 3 more drivers coming up, so we'll try to get these guys in and out as quickly as possible. Kyle, let's begin with you, and then Bruce, and then Nate.
Like Dave said, Marcus, thanks for coming up. Talked earlier after your first round. You were frustrated, but you knew that you had some more chances to go back out. Can you kind of just, what was that like when you had to just constantly go back and forth and try as hard as you could to qualify?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for sure. You're always out there driving everything you got, and our car, for some reason, it's not really got the speed or the grip at the moment. So you feel like you're doing 234s, but you're doing 230s, and yeah, it's quite tricky. Like I said, we just kept trying things, and I thought we made some progress in the end there, but not enough. So we need to try and understand, you know, we have quick teammates. Our primary car was really fast before I crashed it. So see if we can learn something from the data tonight and try and put it better together tomorrow. But yeah, it's tough for sure.
And then kind of when Will and Rossi were talking, you kind of just were looking down at the podium. I'm sure you're frustrated, obviously, but you've kind of just said multiple times that you're kind of putting the blame on yourself as far as crashing the car or the primary car. Where's your mindset heading into tomorrow where you know that you have to be in that top 3 of the 4?
My mindset is to go out and fight and do my best. You know, that's what we always do, and you know, I'm hungry to do that, and we'll look at data, look at videos tonight, see if I can do something better, and then, you know, work with the engineering staff and try and optimize the car. So, you know, that's how it goes. This place is tough. I think everyone can say that. We've been through ups and downs here. At the moment, it's tough for us, but we need to keep fighting. You know, we still have some potential. Can we put the car together and you know, put ourselves in the race? We have not a lot, but we have a bit of time to try and tune on that for the race, and then anything can happen. So we just have to dig deep and go out and fight tomorrow.
In a high-pressure situation like that, is it hard to not let frustration kind of take over when you have to prepare for something like that?
I mean, yeah, it's hard, but, you know, if it would be easy, everyone would do it. So I think, you know, it's part of our job, and it's going to be high pressure tomorrow, but I've done this long enough to know how to deal with that.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you.
Colton Hurd has also obviously joined us driving the 26 Gainbridge Honda for Andretti Global. And just take us through maybe your emotions last 15 minutes. I'm assuming you thought you were safe, and then all of a sudden you're not.
Sucks. No, I mean, it sucks to gonna have to come out here tomorrow and watch everybody drive Indy cars and not be able to do it. So it's annoying to miss it by that much, but overall it was pretty amazing comeback for their group, and I know that's not easy to get back in the car after hitting the wall here. So props to him for getting back in the car and trimming and not lifting. So it was, yeah, impressive for him.
Okay, more questions. Bruce, you got the mic. Go ahead.
Will, you're the all-time IndyCar pole winner, yet the Indy 500 pole is one that you haven't been able to get yet. How important would that be to your already impressive list of career accomplishments? And how important do you think it would be for you to get it, to be able to get a second Indy 500 win?
I don't think it really matters where you start. I think you can win this race from anywhere, but it'd just be a nice box to tick. I haven't had many shots at getting a pole here, so to be in the game is really nice. And we'll see tomorrow. Yeah, I'll do everything I can.
And just the last couple of weeks have been some dark times for Team Penske, but it's like you guys are certainly putting that behind you. How important is that not only are you up on the front row right now, but the rest of your team?
Yeah, it's we've got good people, a very well-run team, and we just, like that was a mistake that happened, and we moved forward pretty quickly. So we just focus on performance, and we're definitely all in the game right now for a pole here and for a race win.
And in 1988, Team Penske swept the front row. How important would that be to duplicate that achievement this year?
I think I'd be extremely happy for the engineers and the guys that have done all this work, because it's been pretty painful the last 5 years. So, I think I'd be most happy for them. We're the lucky ones who get to drive the cars, and so I really hope that happens.
Nate?
For Alex and Will, there were at least 6 plenum fires for Chevys today, and I know you didn't have it at Penske, Will, but that affected 2 of your teammates. Did you guys get any explanation, or is there any sort of sense of what's going on there?
20 minutes.
That's when you'll find out.
So,
You're going to
20
know in
minutes.
20 minutes.
no, we have our meeting in 20 minutes.
Oh,
So,
Well,
no, not yet. But yeah, it's certainly an area for concern. So, but I don't have an answer.
yeah, that will ruin your run. So that's a very important meeting in 20 minutes for you and probably a few other teams.
All right. Understanding you guys can't really speculate too much, but is it something that can happen from pushing the envelope with the engine? I mean, it feels like the last time this happened was Pato at St. Pete in the season opener last year. It doesn't seem like it's really happened since then as much.
I'm not equipped enough from an engineering standpoint to answer it, but I know it's a fairly random event. So there's no like rhyme or reason why it happens. And when it happens, yeah, your run's over. So it's kind of something we need to figure out for sure.
Gotcha. And one for you, Alex. Gavin Ward said today that he thinks Kyle Larson is without a doubt, one of the best drivers he's ever worked with. What's it been like working with Kyle Larson this week?
It's been great, man. I've known Kyle for a lot of years now, both being from Northern California, and I expected exactly this, quite honestly. Coming in as a rookie is a lot easier when you have really good equipment and good people around you. I had that benefit in 2016, so it makes that transition a lot easier. So, with his pedigree and everything he's done across various disciplines, it's not a surprise at all. In terms of working with him, it's pretty straightforward because everything for him is just good. So it's like, it's kind of weird. It's like, is anything ever bad? And he's like, not yet. It's like, oh, sweet. But yeah, it's awesome for Arrow McLaren to be a part of him, attempting to do the double and everything that goes along with that. And just the association has been a very cool thing for all of us, and it's an honor and kind of privilege to be his teammate.
Time for one or two more with these four. Chris?
Alex, I believe your team did not push you out to the qualifying line originally. I must have missed it on the broadcast, but was there were you trying to avoid the heat, or were there other adjustments y'all were trying to make to the car to go a little bit faster?
Well, when you draw last, the only advantage you have is you can pick whenever you want. So we were just waiting for a window that we liked.
Valid. And for Colton, Alex, and Will, y'all saw the last 10, 15 minutes play out from outside the car. What was it like for y'all to be able to just be spectators and see everything take place the way it did?
I think it's a lot more fun than being in that position. It's pretty stressful, and obviously it's stressful if you're not in the race or secured for tomorrow, but also if you're right on that limit, like Pelot was, where he's first in line for 45 minutes and they just flood lane one. I would imagine that could be very frustrating as well. So it was nice to be able to get our run in and then watch everything. Obviously, not the ideal conditions to do it earlier, but also you confirm that you will get a run. So.
It was, I was anxious honestly all day. I wish I could have run again. But yeah, watching that I'll tell you, VK's run is very impressive because it's, because he had a moment that was just unexpected. That's very tough to get back in the car. Very good, man. Very good. Yeah. It's an intense place, this.
Any other questions for these four? If not, we'll cut them loose. Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming up. Good luck to those advancing to tomorrow. Also joined, obviously, by Rinus VK, driver the number 21 Ask ROI Chevrolet for Ed Carpenter Racing, who has officially qualified for his 5th Indianapolis 500. We'll see where he starts tomorrow. And then Graham Rahal also joins us, driving the number 15 United Reynolds Honda for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, going after his 17th Indianapolis 500 start, going through last chance qualifying tomorrow. Rinus, let's start with you. Quite a day. How did you do it?
Well, yeah, what a day. Well, like I said earlier, it would be a really cool story, but I like boring stories more. But yeah, well, what a day indeed. Just such a roller coaster. So, I mean, such a heartbreak to start the day, and crew got the car back together in under 3 hours, which is incredible to start with. And I mean, then to get a banker lap in or a banker run in, get the car cooled down, go back out again at the end, and then do that. I mean, I've never lost hope, but I mean, I never expected us to do that. So it's such a great story, such a great job by the guys. I think they are the real winners here today. I just had to stay flat for four laps today and hang on to the thing. They made it possible for me, and just really, really, really good job.
And obviously for Graham, you see the frustration on your face. You didn't want to be here doing this again this year. What needs to happen tomorrow to make sure you're in the show?
Well, I mean, I hope that that, a smooth 4 is what it's going to take, tomorrow. But, Kat, Marcus, me, we're all about the exact same. Nolan, I'm sure they're going to work hard overnight to find some speed there. But again, a smooth 4 is never a guarantee around here. I think Rinus is proof of that this morning. We always expect him to be up front and to be fast, and sometimes the plays can bite you in ways that you're not expecting. So, we just got to put our heads down. It's not at all what we expected as a team. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things that have put us back here, again. But it's no excuse. We've got to figure out why we've lost some speed over the last couple of days, and just and go from there.
Okay, questions for these two. We'll begin with Chris. Nate, I see your hand up.
Rinus, do you know exactly what all had to be replaced on the car so that they can get everything together and right in the last 3 hours before you got out again?
Well, I know what not had to be replaced, and that was basically the tub and the engine. Everything else kind of had to get swapped out. It was all spare parts, which it's not ideal, but we made it happen, and it's pretty awesome.
And Graham, for you, you had the situation last year. Nolan's car was a bit off compared to the other three, but you know full well that the unexpected can happen in qualifying here. How difficult is it to not overlook Nolan tomorrow and everything else?
I never overlook anybody here. I just don't. I thought Kat did a wonderful job today to find a lot of speed. I think after the last couple, we didn't expect her to be anywhere in the hunt at all, and she got herself into a much better place. You don't overlook anybody here.
Nate.
One for each. Graham, does it feel, it's the same situation, but does it feel maybe a little bit better than last year knowing Takuma did well? And does that give you any hope? Or?
Yeah, I think Takuma's an anomaly. You can see that. Takuma's he's got a hell of an engine, man. Unfortunately or fortunately, but compared to the rest of us, you see where the other three cars are the same, right? Yeah. There's one that's different. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. So, look, it's a double-edged sword. If I had magically put it together the last lap, then P is out. And, we don't want him to be out either. So it's a tough scenario right now. And so, I guess after last year, I'm the man that's picked for the job to try to put it together tomorrow.
Can any of it be traced to? I remember at the open test, Takuma had the new car because of the part shortages. Is that part of this?
No, I don't think so. My chassis is actually new. I think there's a lot of little bits, man. I can say this, and I know a lot of you guys are probably sitting in here, thinking I'm out of my mind, but we did make gains this year. It's that simple. If we had stayed static to where we were last year, we'd be in the 228s, based on where Ganassi is, right? We were 5 to 6 miles an hour off. We're not that anymore, but unfortunately, a few things have happened, and the Chevys have stepped up their game. That's factual. The qualifying draw, as it always does, certainly helped some of the early runners today that put them in the Fast 12. But also guys that are 15th, 16th, 17th that were yesterday around the same speed as us. So there's a lot of little bits to this that make a difference. And then you guys see how close it is. It's very, very, very close. A mile an hour, makes I don't know how much of a spread, but a ton of cars. And so all the little things make a difference. Unfortunately for us, what we kind of fell into the trap of today was that nothing that we did actually found speed. We seemed to degrade as the day went on. We had to shorten our gears, which you shouldn't have to do, but we couldn't get it to accelerate otherwise. We couldn't get the top speed out of the car. We reduced scrub. The second to last run was a really good, fairly neutral balance, for me at least. and is still is nowhere near quick enough. So. We go back tonight. We'll look at all the componentry. We'll try to make sure that everything's in line and nothing's wearing itself out or anything like that. And that's all we can do. I mean, frankly, that's all we can do. And Honda today was great to us. I say it time and time again. I mean, we did have an engine issue. That was factual. They borescoped it. They asked us to remove it. But they made the decision quick. They didn't leave us hanging. They were a great partner in that regard. And we changed as quick as we could. But you guys saw it. Even with a new bullet, we went out and did the exact same speed. It just doesn't line up. This has got to be something mechanically that's holding us back. And unfortunately, that takes a lot of work to find.
And for Rinus, we saw you after you exited your crash, you were limping a little bit. Did that you just shake that off a little bit, or are you still feeling that a little bit? Or
yeah, just I mean, it was a pretty hard hit, and my right knee hurt a little bit after, but I mean, 20 minutes later it was gone. It was more the shock of the incident, and I mean, I've physically had harder hits at recess, so I mean, you kind of get over that, and. I mean, yeah, that's none of my worries. It was more the car, really.
What were the next few hours like for you? You said you were just going to spend time with the guys and try to lift their spirits. What was that like?
Yeah, it was tough, of course. I went to the engineering office first and looked over some stuff and talked to my teammates a little, and then went to the crew, and we barely had time to talk because they were all moving. They were working really hard, and I mean. I went to go have some lunch, and I came back, and the car was already pieced back together, and that's an hour later. So they did a really good job on getting it done early. And I mean, we had 2 runs after the incident, which usually you don't expect the car to go out on the same day again. So that's I mean, a great job by them. And yeah, I mean, I know this team works quickly. They've done it several times, but to actually get that speed out of there was unexpected for most.
Let's go with Bruce and then Tim.
Graham, we've seen how this track has picked the winner before, like Elio Castroneves and others, that, magical moments. Then again, there's sometimes that it doesn't play favorites, and somehow it's picked you again for the second year. And Marcus Ericsson, I mean, are you almost as stunned to see that Marcus is in that group that you got to fight with tomorrow as you being in it a second year in a row?
I'm not, because... Will Power was here a couple years ago. I mean, just the way this place goes sometimes, And unfortunately, as I said, I feel like we busted our butts in the off season, but, we're still not there. And so just got to keep going back to the drawing board and try to find more. There's no quit in these guys. I said that to them on the radio on my end lap. I can see it. I can see the pain in their eyes. Particularly the mechanics. It's a terrible, terrible feeling to see that after all the work that they've put in. I mean, countless hours. I wish they were rewarded with a better performance than this. But I also have been around here long enough to know you can't panic. And today our car balance was quite good on a couple of runs. You're not going to make it more neutral and go find 2 miles an hour. It's just not the way it works. So sad that it's us again, but that's life, and these things happen for a reason. They toughen you up, and hopefully we can get through tomorrow in a different fashion than we did last year. Have a good day on Monday and go from there. But we'll see.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Graham, just a follow-up on that, though. When you're taking a run like that, a couple of runs like that, can you explain to people who are watching on television or us watching, are you pressing the gas hard as you can? I mean, you know what I mean? What are you trying to do in the cockpit to just get that, half second?
Well, I think, Rinus knows this well because he's been on the front row a lot, but here at Indy, it's all about doing the little things correctly, making sure that you get your shift points right, make sure that you're adjusting the bars, the jacker, or utilizing the fast jack at the appropriate times. Like, there's a million things going on, but for me on a day like today, like I said, flat is flat. I mean, you're making it happen. You're trying to do what you can, but sometimes it just doesn't go. And unfortunately, you know, we're a little bit in that position, and you guys can see it. I mean, you know, look at you see the numbers, right? You watch some of these onboards. I think even Renus, you know, the mid-corner speed 229, but then at the end of the back straight 238. You look at us, mid-corner speed 229, end of back straight 233, 234. And unfortunately, those, I can't push harder. Like it's, you know, unfortunately, sometimes these things happen. And as I said, we have made improvements last year. Our cars in race running, the ability to suck up, or suckability, if you want to use that word, is significantly better than last year, but clearly it's not enough. So, and you'll see it too. Walk up and down that pit lane. You see guys varying degrees of wing, right? You know, you see Ferrucci today at, you know, -1 when everybody else is at -6, and he can go do a 33 or whatever he did. Natural speed is natural speed in these cars, and unfortunately, we don't have enough of it.
We got time for one more. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, quick. Renus, I was talking to Ed, your owner out there, team owner out there, and just he was lavishing praise on the team as much as he was you and stuff. And just can you describe their attitude as they, you know, basically put your car back together?
I mean, doesn't matter what happens. We're here to get pole position and to win the race. I mean, we're not here for anything less. And we know we have that car. We've had it in I've had it in every previous year. But I mean, you know, this is just a day where you cannot really be assured of anything. And yeah, we made something really good happen. And I mean, it's been unexpected, but also Ed was still full of praise. My crew chief, my engineers, mechanics, everybody still said, you know, you're a badass driver. Let's get it out there. And it's exactly what I did. I just drove like I always do. And I mean, the team did what they always do and around this place, and they gave me a really fast car. And I was a bit surprised by that first lap speed, but well, surprised in a good way.
All right, guys, it goes without saying good luck tomorrow. Thanks for coming up. Appreciate it. Graham Rahal and Renus VK, stand by. We have some officials from Chevrolet, Jim Campbell, Mark Stilo, Rob Buckner. They'll be here in just a matter of 30 seconds or so. Stand by for those two.
Oh, yeah.
Towns.
Oh wait, who do we have? That's right.
Okay, obviously also joined by some representatives from Chevrolet. You all know Jim Campbell, Vice President, GM Performance and Motorsports, and to his right, Rob Buckner, who's the IndyCar Program Manager. Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, appreciate it. First of all, it's always great to be at Indianapolis. Like, this is what we look forward to all year long. We're here at Indy for qualifying. It's one of the most special weekends of the year in terms of all motorsports. One of the toughest as well. And as a manufacturer, I will tell you, we are pushing as hard as we can to give our drivers and teams the most horsepower and performance that we can possibly give them, because that's what you do at Indy. So we're pressing hard. And you can see, obviously we're using the Indy 500 spec at 1.5 bar. There's been no testing at 1.5 bar with the exception of some time on Friday. No testing prior to that at 1.5 bar. So this is a weekend where you put the higher boost levels in and you got to go. So what I would say is that when you look at the Fast 12, super proud that 9 of the top 12 are Chevrolets, representing 5 of our 6 teams. So we're excited about that and what that can mean for tomorrow and going on to the Indy 500. As I said, we're pushing as hard as we can, and we had about 5 plenum events on the 78, the 33, the 24, the 20, the 5, and the 17. What is that, 6, I guess. And so the good news is the engines, no harm to the engines. Engines are strong and great, so that's good. We do obviously have put those drivers, at a deficit when they've been trying to make their fast 4 laps. So our team is going to work here overnight. We're running in dynos around our dyno facilities around the world. We're going to be running overnight, and then we're working on ways to mitigate the issue and eliminate it, error-proof it for tomorrow around controls and calibration. And obviously, there's some team strategy that will, as the ambient conditions are clear for tomorrow. I mean, we have the forecast, but as we get closer to it, there's some decisions they can make as well, and so we'll be working with them on that. So that's what I wanted to say. We're pushing as hard as we can. This year we have 9 out of the Fast 12. Last year we had 8 out of the Fast 12. But we did not get the pole last year, so we're pushing to get to the pole. And with that, we'll turn it back to Dave.
Yeah, we'll take a few questions here. We have microphones. Let's begin with Jenna, then Nathan, and then Nate.
Hi, Jenna Fryer, AP. First, when you say you're going to have teams working overnight, is that globally or is that these poor guys here?
Everybody.
Everybody?
Everybody. We do have teams in different parts of the world that will be running. We have dynos that we have access to around the world. So we'll be running the dynos there. And then our team here, Rob and his team, will be pouring through all the data. All the data analysis is what you have to do. We got to be ready to go tomorrow. What I would say is the performance for Chevrolet is there. Engines were not harmed. We did, put some pressure on some drivers that were making some great runs. The 78 had a great run going, and that was on us. So we got to make sure we're ready to go for tomorrow. In addition, all the Chevrolet drivers have made the field. Nobody's on the bubble that's with the bow tie. So proud of that as well. And I want to thank Rob, and I see Mark Stelos here in the back, who leads all of our programs across all of our motorsports. And so Mark and Rob and the whole team, I appreciate what they've done.
The 78 was obviously very upset after his lap. I mean, how does Chevrolet feel when these things happen?
Yeah, we feel terrible. Chevrolet and our sister brands at our company, we race in 7, 8, 9 series around the world. When we have an issue that is on us, we feel bad. But these are partnership efforts, and so. It happened. We got to go forward now. What are we going to do to go forward? So the 78 is one. They had a great run, but every one that I mentioned had decent runs going, and we had to basically they basically lost that opportunity. So, but it's racing. When you have an issue, you either got to ignore it or dig in and work to fix it and mitigate it. And that's what we're doing.
And lastly, much like Kyle Larson, I do not know what a plenum effect is in layman's terms. Could you just tell us, is that a hiccup in the engine? Is that the driver's fault? Is that on Chevy's end? Because Larson didn't know either, so I don't feel so bad.
Rob, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. I think these engines are being operated on a knife edge here this weekend, and we're pushing for every bit of performance. So atop of the cylinder heads and the air inlet system of the engine is a plenum, and there's some port fuel injectors up there. So while these engines are at sustained high speed, that plenum's very full of fuel. And if we have any event over a downshift that can ignite that fuel, it ends up evaporating the plenum of its fuel air charge. Temperatures rise rapidly, and it pretty much, to the driver, it's a perceived engine kill. And they vary in duration, they vary in severity. Unfortunately, here today, the ones we had were very noticeable to the drivers. Anything around Indianapolis is very noticeable to the drivers. So it pretty much scrapped those runs, which we really hate for all those drivers that we impacted their day.
But it starts with a shift, a driving shift.
All of them today were across the shift. There's other times that circumstances vary because we're running this plenum full of fuel and really pushing as hard as we can today for performance.
We'll go Nathan and Nate back in the back row. Jack, thanks. Go ahead, Nathan.
Nathan Brown, Indy Star and USA Today. For either Jim or Rob, I know
where are you? Oh, here you are.
Yeah,
Okay,
right
go.
here. I know we've been running these power units essentially since 2012. We're getting to the end of this cycle before you guys add the hybrid unit to it this summer, and we'll obviously have it at the 500 next year. I know we've seen a lot of engine failures from your competitor over the last 8 or 9 days. We've had these plenum events from you guys today. Are a lot of these hiccups or failures that we're seeing over the last week in some way related to just getting so late into this engine life and you guys trying to find every last little bit to find an advantage or reach maximum capacity and performance?
You want to?
Yeah, I think the engine wars are unique, and when we see the drivers pushing each other, it's easy to see their fast hands, reactions, and things that they're doing to compete. The engine programs are really behind a wall, and we're competing out of public eye in a lot of ways and how hard we're pushing these engines. And we're seeing the results of that. I don't think it's due to the age of the engine. I think it's due to how hard you have to operate and push them, the development paths you have to take to get that performance. We take a tremendous amount of pride and responsibility in showing up here with a great engine program. And we definitely had the power. We had reliability in that we didn't fail any engines. All these engines are good to use, but we lacked some robustness in different conditions and the transients of a qualifying run. So I wouldn't say it's due to the age of the engines. It's really, we are pushing very, very hard for every last bit of performance. And I'm very proud of the gains we made coming into this year. I think we brought great power. We got to get all the details right, and I'm high confidence that our group can do that overnight, and we've got a great shot at pole and front row tomorrow.
Second question for Rob. As these were happening throughout the late morning and early afternoon, I think Kyle Larson's was the first one that cropped up. He was 6th in order as we were running through the first time. Can you kind of take us through what your afternoon was like as much as you can? I'm sure one of these things maybe isn't too frightening, but when you start to see 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, what were you guys going through in the background to try to make sure that this didn't happen again while still trying to get as many of these cars into the Fast 12 as possible?
Yeah, the only acceptable number is 0. That's the standard we try to push to. So 1 is too many. So immediately when the 17 cars event happened, we're looking at ways to mitigate it. And unfortunately, throughout the afternoon, they were increasing in frequency. We don't have a full understanding of why, but again, just full confidence in our technical group, our partners at Ilmore, everyone at GM Motorsports. We will figure it out, we'll learn from it, and we'll come back with a better package.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Back row, Nate Ryan.
Hey, Nate.
So you guys have both talked a lot about pushing the envelope, pushing for better horsepower performance. Just to clarify, is a plenum event, is that a byproduct of trying to get more speed and performance, or is it random?
It's definitely related to how hard we're operating these engines. I think it's easy to overlook how much engine performance has been gained throughout the years. A lot of times you come up with some really good gains, you show up here and it's barely competitive. And that's just a result of how hard us and our competitors push each other, how much the Indy 500 means as a manufacturer and as an engine program. Again, this is judgment weekend for us. We want to bring big power, we want to be robust, we want to be reliable. We missed one little piece of it today, but to Jim's point, really proud of having 9 of the top 12. I think we have a speed advantage, and we're just going to work as hard as we can going into tomorrow to finish executing the weekend.
The last one of these I can recall was when Pato O'Ward was leading the season opener at St. Pete last year. Have you had any since then and now?
Yes, we usually have them in practice when they're not so visible. But you know, one of the things we love about the Indy 500, we don't hide from it. We're accountable for what goes on here, especially with the engine program. We're going to own it good and bad and learn from it and come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The other thing I would add, you know, we're obviously, you know, the Chevrolet engine we developed with, you know, Rob, Mark, Russell Blanis, who's not here. He leads our engine programs for all our race programs. And then our partners at Ilmore. But I would say it's not just engine. It's about, in the off season, working on all the improvements we can on the engine and then just overall performance integration. And so the teams have been doing that all the way through. Obviously, proud of the improvements we made on the engine in the offseason, but this performance integration, that's the key. Whether you're talking about racing or production cars on the performance side, that's those both things matter.
Let's go Bruce, Joey, Kevin, I see you, Jana. Okay.
Bruce Meyer with NBCSports.com. When you go back to the normal boost level for the race, will the plenum issue be taken care of that way with running lower boost?
Yeah, actually, there's one thing I was going to close on is that obviously tomorrow we'll wrap up tomorrow. Big day. We're focused on that. That's our primary focus. Monday, the teams will run the same engine at 1.3 bar. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're switching to fresh engines, race engines. We'll run it at 1.3 bar. The incidence at 1.3 bar is much lower. Not to say it would never happen, but much lower. So when we get to 1.3 bar, it'll be a much smaller concern. But nonetheless, we don't want any driver to be affected by it.
And Jim, from a business standpoint at Chevrolet, the fact that Kyle Larson, Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Gordon, Rick Hendrick are going to be part of the Indianapolis 500, how much does that really boost your brand awareness with Chevrolet?
Well, first of all, it's exciting. It hasn't happened in a while. Obviously, Kurt Busch was the last time it happened, and in that case, he ran a Honda over here, which we supported because we wanted to see somebody do the double, and he ran a Chevy at the Coke 600. So we love it because you get crossover of the fan base. That's the biggest benefit. And then for Kyle, to see Kyle's one of those drivers, as you all know, he can race just about anything. For him to have this experience, I'm happy for him and his family. And it's fun to see the energy and enthusiasm as he discovers this incredible Indy 500 and IndyCar racing. And we obviously we have a lot of pride in what happens in our NASCAR programs as well. So I think it's a win for Kyle. It's a win for Chevrolet. It's a win for IndyCar and NASCAR. And by the way, the only way you can do a double with the same brand is with Chevrolet.
NASCAR is a win on Sunday, sell on Monday type of sport. Can the same thing be said about the Indianapolis 500?
For sure. When you win one of the greatest races in the world, it lifts a brand opinion. People think about you more quickly when they're creating their shopping lists. And by the way, many of the fans will swing by one of 4 or 5 locations around the track where we've got Chevrolets in the Midway. We have Chevrolet cars, trucks, crossovers. Got our OnStar technologies on display. We have race engines. We have an IndyCar example there. Corvette. We have 3 different Corvettes over there. We have all of our battery electrics, the Equinox EV, Blazer EV, Silverado RST EV. For those that want to, in the market for a new car, they can come here and have an amazing race weekend and discover about what's new at Chevrolet. And we see people will consider us more quickly when they think about Chevrolet. And if you can run the Indy 500 and have 9 out of the top 12 and hopefully more as we go through the weekend, I think it's credentials. And so when people think about a next car or truck, we hope they put Chevy on their list. And we see that over time that does work.
We'll go Joey and then Kevin. Go ahead, Joey.
Joey Barnes, motorsport.com. Rob, with something like this, is it a matter of, obviously it's random like you say, but is it a matter of also just kind of looking at, maybe it's changing shift points or something of that nature? Just because it seemed like a lot of them happened coming through out of one into the short shoot.
Yeah, I think it seemed like one of the first couple laps with full boost, it seemed pretty prevalent. So we're going to look at everything: ECU data, shift points, shift lights. We're going to work with our teams, drivers. At this point, there's really no mitigation strategy we would eliminate. Just wanting to have a clean day tomorrow, and we'll do everything we can for that.
And then just lastly, what is the level of concern about tomorrow?
In my mind, top priority, we've got 9 of the 12. So we've got a 75% chance at it. I think we've got some really fast cars. I think we've got all 9 of those cars are capable of being on the front row. Our intention is to put 3 Chevrolets on the front row tomorrow, hopefully with no plenum events. We're going to keep working towards that.
And all Chevrolet drivers are locked into the race, which is great.
Thank you.
We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. Kevin?
Kevin Dejewski with Motorsport Week. Just a quick clarification. Did you have any plenum events this past week, or more specifically on Fast Friday, leading up to today?
I don't remember us having any drastic ones throughout the week at 1.3 bar or yesterday at 1.5 bar. But again, conditions evolve. The engines are being operated as hard as they possibly can be today. This is really the day we put we hang everything out, us, the teams, the drivers. So we've always have seen some unique things pop up. Every Indy 500 qualifying weekend is an adventure. We got some parts of it right, and other parts we have some work to do.
And were there any particular concerns about this before today, or did today was really the start of it?
Today was the start of it. I don't think we had any awareness of it coming into today, and we'll quickly get our arms around it and get it resolved.
All right. We'll Tim, Nathan, then wrap up with Jen after that.
Yeah, and following up on that, would you describe it as a mechanical glitch or a software glitch, a detector glitch? How would you describe it?
A set of circumstances, a set of inputs and events that lead to, rapid combustion of fuel. So we can describe it a lot of different ways. To the driver, it's very interruptive to their lap. So we've got to eliminate that as we go forward, and we'll learn from this. I don't doubt we'll come back with a stronger package in 2025. I think, Jim said we had 8 last year, 9 this year, so I think he's expecting 10 next year. So,
and Jim, how important is it for Kyle Larson to do well? I mean, y'all were all giving big congratulations there after his big run and stuff, but down in the pits. But how important is it for him to do well?
For a driver to drop into the series and be able to have the awareness behind the wheel, the quick learning cycles, and the speed it's impressive. And so it's important to show that a driver can switch disciplines and do really well. And Kyle is one incredible talent. And it's been a long time since we had a double. I'm so excited. I mean, Kurt was the last one. And it's just great to have a double. And there's others, believe me, there's others that want to do it. And those that want to do it, we'll entertain it. We can find the right circumstances. It's really important.
Okay, a couple quick follow-ups. Nathan?
2-part follow-up. I know you guys are a little bit more technical on this. When we think of boost, we think, I think a lot of us probably think more in horsepower. You guys are talking about 1.3 bar to 1.5 bar. Are those normal boost levels for Fast Friday and qualifying weekend for the 500? First question.
Yes, those are very standard.
That's
so
standard.
Super Speedway's always been 1.3 bar during this era. I think Fast Friday's been 1.5 bar in qualifying since 2020.
Yep.
And from a horsepower perspective, that's, again, clarifying about 100 extra horsepower for Fast Friday and qualifying weekend. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
One more before we wrap up. Jenna, go ahead.
Last one for Jim. Kyle, you've known him probably as long, and have worked with him probably as long as anyone around here has. He admittedly doesn't know things like plenum event, manifold, milking the cow, all the Indy traditions. And yet he's still able to get in the car and turn the fastest lap of his life and be completely unfazed. Like, let's go race tonight. Why? Like, what makes him so special, despite not knowing anything about cars?
He's one of a rare number of drivers that can literally race in multiple disciplines. It just doesn't happen, because to be successful in today's motorsports, you almost have to specialize. And he has found a way to break that mold. It's hard. And he's done it. And he's convinced his various partners that he's better because of it. The other one that was kind of like that was Tony Stewart. And Tony Stewart convinced a lot of people that he was better when he was doing multiple disciplines. And so Kyle, if you see him, I mean, he's super focused when he's getting behind the wheel, but he is energized, he's enthusiastic. And then afterwards, after he made his lap and did the media, he was there with his family walking around the infield area, just taking it in. And I think that's a little bit of his, he's a little bit older now, and I think he's realizing when you have a special opportunity, like, take it in. But when he's behind the wheel, it's all business.
Do you believe that his ability to run different disciplines makes him a better driver?
I do, and I thought Tony Stewart was the same way. Some people want to relax by doing something else. They want to golf. They want to rest. They want to go to the beach. They want to whatever. Tony Stewart and Kyle Larson relax by racing cars. That's what they do, and they're better for it. Thanks.
Okay, Jim, Rob, thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next On-track session for the NTT INDYCAR Series practice at noon tomorrow with qualifying. Day 2, PPG presents Armed Forces qualifying begins at 3 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, everyone.